so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's further the conversation on the issue of state police, in which the president and the state governors had a meeting and they came together to agree. Very unique in the sense that this for a long time hasn't happened. So if they say state police is the way to go, the president has made some specific pronouncement. Don't forget also, in a twist of event, some federal lawmakers are advocating for a switch from a presidential system of government to a parliamentary system of government. Tonight, I have a very experienced lawyer and a very experienced lawmaker, Senator Enang, to give us some insight on this one. Thank you so much, Distinguished, for talking to us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Off the camera, you were saying that Ekweremadu, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, fought the battle, and the governor of Kaduna State also said the same about this issue of state police, but it's now coming to something that we urgently need to face. How much of urgency do we need? Do we need to face? I think state police
let me say that it was a question of time, and Senator Ike Ekweremadu, as Deputy President of the Senate in the 7th Senate where I served, also was very vehement that we should have state police. He sponsored and brought a bill. I was one of those who vehemently opposed him, campaigned against it, went out of my way to say the way the governors exercise powers over electoral process. If you give them control of security, they will kill everybody. But now it is no more the question of the governors. We now shouldn't care so much about what the governor does with it, so long as he does one thing with it. I use it to manage security internally of the state and allows peace to be. Because our economy is affected today because farmers can no more enter the farm. And there is a lot of contradictions, a lot of contest or contestations where the governors say, look, they do not have power over the police. And the police, whenever there is any incidents, the governors will say they do not have command over the police, they do not have command over the soldiers. I'm sure a lot of people have heard the story of the stories emanating from Plateau State, where there is even the governor will come out complaining that he is not in control because the command has to generate from Abuja, the police command has to generate from Abuja, the army, the command has to come from Abuja. And of course, if a governor could complain that there is something he could do with it. So I want to say that it is time, and state police is an idea whose time has come. And again, let me commend His Excellency President Tinubu, because right from the days of ACN, as governor of Lagos, through the leader of the party then, Wumi Bewaji, who led I think he led the ACN angle of the minority, in the House of Representatives. He'd been advocating this. And when Gbajabiamila joined in 2003, they still brought that idea of federalism and just true federalism, which Obongota advocated, and that it should include state police. But we opposed it then, just as we opposed it then in the House of Representatives, just as we opposed in the Senate when I got to the Senate. But the time is now for us to voluntarily have state police, because we have economic situation. The greatest problem we have about the food crisis is insecurity. Because I would have thought, and people personally would have thought, that in areas like Abia, Imo, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Bayelsa, that it is safe to go into the farm. But I was shocked on Thursday last week, about the 15th of this month, about 4 days ago. I was in Ikono local government in Akwa Ibom State. And I had opportunity of sitting and taking the complaint and harassment of the people that you APC, you people are causing hardship in this country. You people, there is no food. And I was with them. I drove a long way from Uyo and from Ibiono to the place in Ikono. And I said to them, look, is it President Tinubu that will come and plant rice, plant cassava, plant plantain in this vast array of land that throughout where I have driven up to this place, and that even the plantain you have here are just accidentally germinating? He said, how can we enter the bush that all this bush in Akwa Ibom State, Ikono local government, all this bush, there are cow and persons with gun in the place, manning this thing. So they can't even go to plant. That was that day. That is 4 days ago. That is when now, because I thought it was just a single speaker in the incident.
Yeah.
So
it dawned on you
become an advocate, no more a passer-by, and I'm not just saying, okay, it's okay, I am going to be an advocate. So Senator, what I suggest the government should do, Mr. President should do, we should not wait for the National Assembly to finish the Constitution Constitution amendment process. We should not allow it to be part of those matters that will be considered by the Senate, by the House, by the Joint Constitution Committee, and then pass to and then they go on conference in Lagos or Kaduna, and then agree, and then come to pass, and then send to the House of Assembly. Mr. President should direct the Attorney General of the Federation to prepare an executive bill to forward to the National Assembly so that it will be treated as a stand-alone executive bill on state police, where the delimitation of the functions of the state police vis-a-vis the federal police, vis-a-vis delineation with duties of security agencies as against the possible overlap of functions or authority or command, where they will do it. So the president should do that so that it can be taken with the urgency it demands. As a lawyer, yes,
there are those who will think that this is a very difficult task to amend those parts of the Constitution, which, local government boundaries, these are very difficult areas because of how the Constitution has provided on the processes to amend this. If this has failed in several other constitutional amendment process, how do you think this can be successful?
It didn't fail because of processes. It failed because persons like us stood up, even in the last assembly. Even from away, we all advocated that it shouldn't be. But now, because of what is happening, and the economy, the extent to which it is affecting the economy, the way it is affecting food, Now, in Akwa Ibom, we have our local goat. People don't, it is almost extinct. We eat goat that comes from Adamawa State and part of the northern part of Kaduna when it was available, and part of Niger. Now, that goat can no more come in because of the cost of diesel and transporting it down, and then the logistics of making it pass, Now, it has now become necessary that we should rear our own goat, we should plant our own food. Even rice is no more available. I can't mention the price of what I had to buy rice yesterday, in the supermarket. It is very embarrassing. So everything that should be done now, the president should consider where we are as a state of national emergency. Most matters should step down. Mr. President should impound the budget. He should impound the budget because all the parameters in the budget within 40 days of assenting to the budget has collapsed. The exchange rate, the cost of fuel, the cost of every indices that makes project, even road construction. You can't, because at what rate are you going to price bitumen? At what rate are you going to price labor? So everything should just wait. Mr. President should just, I pray him to consider summoning a national emergency discourse on the economy. And before then, he impounds the budget, impounds expenditure, so that whatever he wants to do can be realistic.
Let's take a quick breather, and when we come back, I will take you up on the issue of a possible switch from parliamentary system of government to presidential system of government. That's another debate that is very critical with what we are facing right now. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Everyone for staying with us. Senator Enang is speaking with us. Some of his concluding thoughts on the issue of state police now.
My concluding thought on this issue of state police for now is that, one, there should be an executive bill. An executive bill can just receive 1 week consideration. It is passed. When it is passed, it is forwarded to the State Houses of Assembly. The governors are in agreement. So this can be done and concluded in 14 days, and it is assented to by the president. And then they start, because we must have this we should have state police as a means of beginning to address the economic problems of growing food. And then the modalities of the state police should be this. I want to suggest that we are going to have problem of too many security agencies operating in the country with the state police on. Already we have most of the states, like Akwa Ibom State, we have the community watch. In the Ondo State, we have the Amotekun. Other states have their different kinds, but they are not authorized to carry arms. The state police should be able to integrate all this, and then it operates in. And then you now abolish civil defense. I know this is I'm going to be under attack, but civil defense is an unnecessary addition to the security cost of this country. So you abolish it and then transfer the personnel to the state police, to their states. Let them add and be the start. You abandon road safety, because most of the judgment that has been made in this country, that has been delivered by the courts, up to the Supreme Court, has delimited the powers of the and circumscribed the powers of the road safety over state roads. And most of the roads that this operate are federal and state roads. And of course, whatever the argument, they don't need to exist. You can't be funding civil defense, road safety without, And
the president has already said that there will be more personnel in the police.
Yes, you can transfer them to the police. Let them be, after all, they came from the police. They can return to the police. Now, we can
let me, do we need a parliamentary system of government as being proposed by some federal lawmakers?
I don't think we need to talk about the system of government, whether presidential or parliamentary. We need to talk about change of mindset, change of attitude to governance, change of attitude to power. Because, regrettably, a lot of people who come into government do not think that coming into government is coming to deliver service. A lot of people who come into government think that coming into government is just having access to the public treasury. And so it is not whether you operate parliamentary or presidential doesn't really change the situation. What needs to change is the mindset of the people who go into government. I believe, and I have always held in my private and personal discussions, that for somebody to come into government, the person should have been able to have a level of self-sustenance. He should be able to sustain himself. He shouldn't look towards government to be able to drive either his first car or to improve his house or something. So parliamentary, presidential is not a problem to me. We have a bigger problem, which is stomach infrastructure. How do we feed our country? How do we feed our countrymen? So I will not be able, perhaps later I will, when I recover from the shock of the economy. Now, if you talk of parliamentary system of government, you are talking of the situation where the same persons who are elected into parliament will become those who will be ministers, Now, it can operate and serve better in a country where institutions work, not where individuals become institutions. Imagine you let somebody, you choose somebody to go into an office. The first thing he does, there was laws governing that institution. The first thing he does is to seek to amend the laws in that place, to invest, to give him more powers, and then down and lower the power of the institution. So if this is still to give more powers to the legislators I'm a legislator, I can't envy it, but it is not time to discuss it, and it is not a best thing to discuss at this time, and it is not a plausible thing, because parliamentary or presidential is not the problem of Nigeria.
Senator Enang, a very experienced lawmaker and a lawyer, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
My pleasure.